Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat. Ako po si Christian Esguera and welcome po sa ating special Facts First episode ngayong araw. We are recording this interview today. Pero by the time na pinapanood nyo na po ito, it's only siguro a matter of hours. No? So today is November 12, 2024. Maraming salamat po sa patuloy nyo pong pagsubaybay at pagsuporta dito po sa ating Facts First podcast. Pag-uusapan po natin ngayon, ano ba yung magiging epekto nitong mga nakaambang pulisiya na i-implement na po ni incoming US President Donald Trump. Alam po natin, siya po nanalo dito po sa pinakahuling eleksyon diyan po sa United States and he will assume office again in January 2025. Marami po mga natutuwa, marami rin po mga natatakot. Pag-uusapan natin, what this Trump 2.0, so to speak, yung ika nga nila Trump 2.0 would actually mean to Filipinos. Diyan po sa United States, at saka dito rin po of course sa Pilipinas at saka pagdating po sa ating interes. Ang makakausap po natin ay ang ating pong Philippine Ambassador to Washington. I'd like to welcome again to our program si Ambassador Jose Manuel Babe Romualdez. Magandang araw po, Ambassador, and thank you for joining us dito po sa Facts First.
Ay, magandang umaga sa iyo. Magandang araw sa iyo, Christian.
Okay. You basically have your work cut out for you with this incoming policy implementations. Pero before that, I'd like to ask about this. No? Kumusta po ba yung naging pagtanggap ng Filipino community dyan po sa United States? Dito po sa pagkapanalo ni President Donald Trump.
Well, maraming mga Pilipino-American nagsuporta kay President Trump. No? Especially doon sa Nevada. Ang pagkaintindi ko talagang solid yung Filipino-American community doon. Quite a large number of them really voted for President Trump. Ganun rin sa Arizona at saka many other southwestern countries, western states. No, even in New York, there were quite a number. It's supposed to be known as a Democrat state, pero marami rin Pilipino nagboto kay President Trump. So maraming masaya, meron rin mga Pilipinos, lalo na sa California, na who voted for Vice President Harris, pero siyempre malungkot sila.
Basically, ano ba yung parang thought process or basically, ano yung reasons itong mga Filipino-Americans who voted for Trump? Why are they supporting him?
Alam mo, yung marami sa kanila, number one sa kanila talaga yung economy. No? Medyo tinamaan sila because yung sahod nila medyo pataas ang presyo. Pero ironically, marami sa kanila nagagalit sila na marami nga mga immigrants or mga illegal immigrants na pumapasok sa Amerika at hindi nila nagugustuhan yan. Lalo na sa New York ngayon, especially in the city, maraming ang binasin ng galing sa Texas, yung border sa Texas. Ang governor doon, pinadala lahat sa New York, sa California, kung saan nila pinadadala. So medyo hindi nagugustuhan ng maraming Filipino-Americans. At just the same, sila rin nagsasabi na hindi na nagugustuhan ng maraming mga Pilipino nagpapalusot na hindi sila documented, ganyan. Sila, they're legal at trinabaho nila yung pagka-American citizen nila or permanent resident. Pero marami nagpapalusot na hindi nila, parang ayaw nila yung gano'n. No? So, mixed rin mga feelings ng mga Filipino-Americans or mga Filipinos that are residing in the United States.
And I suppose yung message ni Donald Trump, yung kanyang narrative during the campaign, resonated among these Filipino-Americans.
Yes,
yung fear that the immigrants or illegal immigrants are taking away jobs and at the same time, they are security risks.
Security risk at saka ang tingin rin nila marami mga immigrants na illegal are turning into crime, no? Criminality is a big problem for many big cities right now. Supposedly dahil they're jobless, they don't have anything to do. Some of them turn into crimes or join gangs.
Okay. So dito sa mass deportation plan ni Donald Trump, basically tuloy ito, no? Kasi this is a centerpiece campaign promise. Tama po ba?
Yes, I think medyo talagang that is a promise he made. Judging from the border SAR na he just appointed yesterday, mukhang talagang seryoso sila. Number one priority nila yan that they are really going to deport all illegal immigrants who are living in the United States. Pero ang pagkasabi sa amin, uunahin nila yung mga national security risk for the United States. Secondly, yung mga criminals, marami na rin identified. Definitely sila yan, i-round up nila yan at they will send them back to wherever they came from. Pero siyempre, susunod rin dyan yung mga undocumented. Diyan ako na-worry para sa ating mga kababayan that they may have been here for some time, pero kung talagang hindi sila documented, they have very little time to work on this. Alam mo, Christian, matagal ko na sinasabi yan eh. Even before I came here to the United States, alam ko there were about somewhere between 350 to 400,000. Sinasabi ko na, I wrote in my column many times that the illegal immigrants or those who have entered the United States illegally or are now undocumented, medyo mahihirapan sila dahil marami akong mga kilalang dineport, hindi na nakabalik dito eh. So yan ang aking advice lagi. Kung talagang walang pag-asa to get your papers in order dito, it's best that you voluntarily leave. Yan ang meaning, yan ang sinasabi ko. Hindi sa tinatakot ko sila o sinasabi ko na umalis na kayo. Hindi ganun eh. I'm just concerned for them dahil talagang mahirap pag ma-deport dito. And the other thing also, Christian, that we have to be concerned about, marami dyan ating mga kababayan na pumasok dito, some of them with a legal visa, na they were able to go here on an exchange program or whatever it is, tapos ayaw na nang bumalik. To stay here, they live with somebody working as a domestic helper or caregiver, pero hindi sila binabayaran ng tama. Ang pinakamasaklap sa lahat, hindi lang sila binabayaran ng tama, parang ginagawa pa sila ng parang slave. In fact, yung ABS-CBN gumawa ng documentary yan sa isang particular maid that was imprisoned by a Filipino family for almost 30 to 40 years. And I met that person, namatay na siya, pero kawawang-kawawa talaga eh. Talagang maiiyak ka on what they went through. That is the one that I don't want to happen to our kababayans.
Okay. Clarify ko lang po muna yung figures, no? Kasi initially, yung mga lumalabas between 250,000 and 300,000 undocumented Filipinos. Pero you mentioned 350, between 350 and 400?
Yun ang figure that was, the exact figure, siyempre, they're undocumented. So it's very hard to tell the exact number. Pero the 300,000 always pops up eh.
Okay. 300 ang parang talagang estimate.
I would think the estimate. No? Although, most likely, some of them have been able to already file for some legal status or they're waiting for their status to be. Yung mga yon, most likely they will be allowed to stay here while their papers are being worked out. May pag-asa yon. Pero yung walang-wala talagang papeles at saka walang roadmap, doon ako worried for them.
Paano ito sa tingin nyo i-implement? Kasi si Tim Homan, no, he was named as the border czar. And then, of course, he would assume office in January 2025. Meron siyang reputation of being, hindi lang no nonsense eh. To some people, ruthless. Ano sa tingin niyo yung magiging parang actual implementation nito as far as these undocumented Filipinos are concerned? Paano siya? Bahay-bahay? Paano sila round up?
Well, alam mo, we don't know exactly kung paano niya gagawin lahat yan. Pero the bottom line is the policy that President Trump has already set out, and its priority number one is to really go after that. If you remember yung ICE, which is the
Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Yes, that particular agency is going to be so powerful that now not even a state police or FBI or anything or any federal agency can stop them from actually going into and rounding up people. And if once they're proven to be illegally in the United States, they can be deported. Matindi yan, ha? That is a very, very serious thing that remember in the first Trump that was being, or at least that was being, they were trying to implement something like that. But now that President Trump has a full mandate, most likely that's going to happen.
Since nag-ano kayo, 'di ba, binanggit niyo na po ito last week, no? You gave this piece of advice to undocumented Filipinos there sa United States. Sabi niyo, voluntarily leave kaysa naman i-ano kayo, i-banish or i-deport. Talagang hindi sila makakabalik, no? So far sa mga conversations and monitoring niyo, meron na bang mga nag-indicate that they would do just like that?
Well, marami nagtatanong, no? Kaya ang gagawin namin ngayon, in fact, I've already asked our Consul General. Meron silang meeting sa Los Angeles, which is actually being organized by Undersecretary Ed De Vega. This was planned before pa, pero he's the one in charge of what we call the workers working outside under the DFA. It's in his purview, no? But a priority that they will be talking about is how do we help and try to assist those citizens that are seriously thinking of going home, and how do we repatriate them, or some of them that may need to just get some advice. Kaya nga, we're going to try to get a good, knowledgeable immigration lawyer that will interpret the new policy. Wala pa yung policy. Siyempre, we're waiting for that one. I don't know when and it will be available, but as soon as it's available, we're going to look at it and ask an immigration lawyer so that we can give good advice to those Filipinos that will want to consider whether they will go home or they will try their chances into filing. But they have to get themselves, there has to be a legal path for them. That's very important. Dahil kung hindi sila legally here, they will be living a nightmare every day. Gusto ba nilang ganyan na buhay? Or, yun ang nga sinasabi ko, they can be working for nothing just to be able to stay here and be what? Be made a slave? Hindi naman yata tama yun. That's totally inhuman. And I feel for those people who've had that before.
Actually, totoo yung sinasabi niya, Ambassador, no? When I was staying there, may mga na-encounter ako mga ganun, no? Hindi lang Filipinos, but other nationalities who were
Yes.
illegals, no? So basically, they work as gardeners, yung iba, car wash boy, pero under the table lahat yun. They were at the mercy of their employers at wala silang benefits, definitely. And definitely, they could not go to the authorities kasi illegal nga sila, di ba?
Exactly. At saka hindi lang yun. Lagi sila tinatakot. If you complain, we'll tell the authorities. Yun lagi yung tinatakot sa kanila eh. Kaya medyo masakit yung mga ganyan na nangyayari sa ating mga kababayan eh.
Okay. Paano yun? No? Isang malaking issue po rito yung family separation. So, how are you preparing for this? Yung ating embassy. Kasi iba dyan ng mga illegal Filipino immigrants, pwede kasi meron silang mga pamilya po, hindi po ba? Pero yung status nila illegal pa rin. Paano po yan?
Well, that is where we really need to use whatever we can to see if there is still a path for them. Kaya nga sinasabi ko, kung meron silang mga pamilya dito and they're not here legally, the lawyer may be able to give them a path while they're waiting for it here in the United States dahil nandito na sila. Pero there will also be a advice that it's best for them to file outside, meaning to say they have to go back to the Philippines to file in the U.S. Embassy. They have they have more than even chances to be able to come back here. Pero pag yan sila ma-deport, naka-record na yan eh. At saka, as I said, hindi lang immigration ngayon eh. It's really all the agencies are now informed that this person has been deported. I know of so many cases that people have been deported. Hindi na namin matulungan talaga makakuha ng visa pabalik dito. Maski na yung visang hinihingi nila, maski na 1 week lang para meron lang sila gustong bisitahin na may sakit na mamamatay na. Hindi talaga. Hindi pinapayagan. Because that's their new law. Kaya nga itong policy na inintay natin, or this new bill that might come out shortly after President Trump becomes president, makikita natin dyan on how strict they will be now. And most likely, it will be very, very strict on how they want to handle this immigration. Because it's really become a big problem here in the United States. Yan, totoo rin yan.
Ito, yung binabanggit niyo po na legal path, no? Sabi niyo equally, ganun din naman yan kung gawin nila outside of the United States. Pero pwede lang gawin while in the United States po, no? While waiting for the Trump assumption.
Sometimes there is what you call this, there is what they call a court that decides that, okay, we will give you so many months to be able to do this or whatever it is to get some. So in other words, meron kang status although it's in limbo. Meron ganon, no? Meaning to say, meron talagang chance that you'll be given a temporary visa to stay in the United States while your papers are being worked out. Meron ganon. Those are people that obviously have a path, a legal path.
Siyempre, isa pang complication dyan in terms of family separation, yung mga nagkaroon na ng anak with kunwari, Americans or fellow undocumented. Paano yan, di ba? It gets even more complicated po ba?
Well, nakita mo naman na Christian kung ano nangyari noon, ano? Itong ang bagong border SAR, maraming families that were separated dahil talagang very strict yung implementation na ginawa nila. So that's another concern that we have to worry about dahil walang exception eh. So no matter how much representation you make, there is no such thing as that because ano ba naman dito, once they implement something, they just follow the rules without any concern whatsoever. It's very rare there will be some kind of a human kasi
Compassion.
talagang compassion. Kasi talagang the majority of Americans really feel that sumobra na talaga kasi yung open borders policy in the past has really taken its toll in this country now.
I remember there was this quote coming from Tim Homan before previous interview. Actually, lumulutang po siya muli ngayon, no? Yung tanong sa kanya na is there another way? Yung ganyan, 'di ba? Yung nagkakahiwalay yung pamilya. And sabi niya, umalis yung buong pamilya. 'Di ba? Pero siyang ganyan eh.
Ayan na, masakit yan. Meron ganun na salita na minsan, siyempre, may inis ka. Pero bayan nila ito. Hindi naman diba, makokontrol yan. Kaya importante rin na, this is why I keep saying that it's important that we have good relations with our host country. Marami nga nagsasabi, masyado ka namang pro dyan and everything like that. Trabaho ko yan eh. Ang trabaho ko to make sure that we have good relationship para kausapin ka na masinsinan. Importante yan eh. Kaya nga, swerte nga ako na nandito ako 2017. Marami dyan mga kilala ko na at kinakausap nila ako at sinasabi nila sa akin, ito, paghandaan ninyo ito, ganito. Dahil talaga ito, seryoso talaga dito kami. Yan. One of them, ito nga illegal or undocumented immigrants here in the United States.
Okay. Aside from preparing the legal advice that you could give to this illegal Filipino immigrants, ano po yung mga preparations na ginagawa ng US ng embassy natin dyan sa Washington? And ano po yung coordination nyo with other agencies in the Philippines pagbalik nila dito, 'di ba? Baka naman, 'di ba, livelihood is an issue, most definitely.
Definitely. Well, no. I mean, sa DMV, siyempre, yung ating bagong migrant workers, dyan bumabagsak itong mga problema ganito. So definitely we will have to ask the DMV, and of course the DFA will make representations, perhaps to the office of the president, if we have to repatriate them with what happened during the pandemic, no? Maraming mga kailangan iuwi sa atin. So we were able on many occasions to be able to charter an aircraft to be able to bring them home. But there were so many of them, lalo na yung mga seamen, that we had to ask the liners, yung luxury liners, yung mga Caribbean ships, to bring our workers, yung ship nila mismo, dinala dyan. In fact, if you remember, nandiyan sila sa Manila Bay for so many weeks.
Even quarantine
before we were able to actually allow them to come into shore. No? It's a major problem. Pero gagawin namin ang gagawin na pwedeng gawin para nakahanda tayo. Kaya nga, I'm calling this, itong aming planning session, gagawin namin sa December. And the top priority, siyempre, kung anong plano natin dito sa mga magiging problema natin sa deportation ng mga ating mga kababayan.
Itong around 300,000 undocumented Filipinos sa US, saan po ba sila concentrated? West Coast, East Coast, which particular states? If
quite a number
you have that information.
There are quite a number of them obviously are in the West Coast. Pero alam mo, some of them, it's very hard to tell where they are already because syempre they they try to sip into areas where they think they're safer, no? Like in New Mexico or somewhere there. But at the rate this ice and whatever it is that they're planning to do, sooner or later, ma-discover ka rin eh. Kaya nga, we're already trying to do what we can to already advise them. Kung talagang problema, it's best that you plan on going home muna. At least may pag-asa ka pa na makabalik. Kasi as I said, pag ma-deport ka, most likely hindi na, the chances you're going back is almost impossible.
That's it. Okay. Nga pala, kumusta naman po yung yung pag-touring sa mga Filipinos diyan? Kasi malaking issue yung mga snide remarks, discrimination. Wala po bang uptick as far as the Filipino community is concerned? Mga napapagbintangan na na baka illegal, 'di ba? Without any proof.
Yan, I don't think we have that naman. In fairness, marami sa ating mga Filipino workers dito, especially yung mga health workers, are very much appreciated. Yan ang maganda dito eh. Kaya nga sinasabi ko, maganda yung image natin dito sa Amerika. Sana wag natin sirain for a few people who insist on staying here undocumented, or most especially those that are creating problems for other Filipinos by going against the law, or some of them. But there are very, very few at all that go into criminality. No? Pero generally, mga Filipinos dito are very much appreciated. Kasi marami na akong pinuntahan dito ng mga states, no? Lalo na sa Alaska, as far as Alaska. Dyan, they are very much appreciated. Hardworking, very good people, mga ganyan. So, I hope
well-regarded.
Yes, well-regarded. And I really hope that we keep that image. It's for all of us. It's for the good of the country and for the good of those people who want to live here in the United States.
Puntahan naman natin, Ambassador, yung other things that we should be talking about. For instance, yung meron kay advantage kasi you were there during the first Trump administration, tama po ba?
Yes.
Okay. May mga concerns ngayon, iba nagsasabi. What can we expect from a second Trump administration as far as protecting our interests dyan po sa West Philippine Sea or sa South China Sea? How do you respond to that? Would there be any major shifts? Kasi dapat wala, di ba?
No, there won't be any major shift. Dahil it's important to know that this is not a one-way street. Hindi tayo we are not making our alliance with the United States stronger dahil nagpapagwapo tayo or we just want to. Hindi ganun eh. It's in our interest that the United States is present in the West Philippine Sea. And it is also in their interest. The interest of the United States in the Indo-Pacific region, especially in the South China Sea, is because that is an important sea lane because of the trade that passes through. Trillions of dollars pass through there. U.S. exports to the Asian region, which is a growing market, is very important for them. That's the reason why ASEAN is very important today here in the United States. And we are in the forefront. And ngayon na ginugulo tayo ng China, it is also in our interest na nandyan yung US. Kaya even during the time of President Trump, their national security advisors, their Secretary of Defense, on many occasions, they were concerned when then President Duterte was threatening to abrogate the VFA because it's important for them that they have a continued exercises plus access to some of our bases there, precisely because they want to secure the area for their interest. And at the same time, in our view, it is also for our interest, which is now being clearly elucidated by President Marcos.
Of course, we know that China is a very high in the list of priorities. It's very high in the list of priorities of Trump. In fact, China, di ba? Hindi po ba? Doon siya nakatutok sa China. So what can expect? What can the Philippines expect? Kasi this is the bully in our backyard, China.
Well, there are many in the U.S. Congress that are Republicans. Number one, they support us, so that's a bilateral support. We both from the Democrats and the Republicans. They're very supportive of the Philippines, and they're supportive of us modernizing our armed forces. The good thing is our mantra now, or what I tell them, which is what the president has indicated to me, is that we are not asking for aid. We are asking that they help us modernize our armed forces, and we will put up our own resources. And that's why it's important that we have economic prosperity. Obviously, investments coming from the U.S. Is important for us and other Western countries as well, so that we'll have the resources to be able to bump up our armed forces para talaga magiging partner tayo. Hindi tayo yung umaasa sa isang bayan na they give us o silang nakatutok dito. It is for both our countries na magkasama tayo dito. Yan ang ating sinasabi dito, which is what I appreciate. Hindi na tayo yung para tayo laging anong mabibigay sa atin. Hindi pwedeng ganun eh. Kasi talagang two-way street eh. And that's what President Trump's policy is going to be. I can see that coming from his foreign policy.
Oh, and it's actually very vocal about it, no? Pag meron
Yeah.
silang partnership sa isang bansa, for example, this is how he dealt with NATO. Meron siyang hinihingi. You have to do your part. So, ganun din ang i-expect natin sa atin.
And we've already said that. We said it during the first Trump administration. We said it during this administration of President Biden, and we will continue to pursue that policy through this coming administration of President Trump.
Yung EDCA sites, so walang magiging problema dyan. Basically, tuloy-tuloy. Do you see those sites expanding?
Well, sa totoo lang, yung Pentagon, which will remain the same, there are quite a number of them who are there professionally. They would like to see that. The Indo-PACOM, for instance, which is the one in charge of the Indo-Pacific region, si Admiral Paparo, obviously they would like to have more EDCA sites that would be accessible to American troops, no? But that's up to us. It's dependent on our need and for our security, on how we will be able to manage that. But it's an agreement that we've had since 2016.
And of course, isa sa mga kinakagalit ng China, yung presence ng mid-range missile system ng United States sa Pilipinas. Ano bang plano ron? Is that here to stay?
Well, we want it to stay. At saka dyan, tama si Secretary Teodoro, wala silang pakialam kung anong ginagawa natin sa ating bayan for our own security. Ako naman, dinatanong ko sa China, yung Scarborough Shoal, reef yan, ginawa ninyong military base at meron kayong mga missiles dyan. Hindi naman sa inyo yan. Di ba? So, I don't know what they're saying to us, that bakit meron kayong medium range missiles dyan sa ating area, sa Luzon. Sila sa Scarborough Shoal, that is questionable dahil hindi naman talaga sa kanila yan. Ginawa nilang military base.
Itong tough-talking Trump, diba? This is Trump as we know him. Would this be good in the Philippine context, given the current scenario here in the South China Sea, sa West Philippine Sea? Is this the kind of American leader that this region wants at this time, or needs?
Well, alam mo, I really don't want to speculate on how people will feel, but all I know is I think the American people have spoken very strongly. Obviously, people on the other side were sort of shocked that President Trump won not only the electoral votes overwhelmingly, but even the popular vote.
Yeah.
So it only tells you that the American people obviously want to see a determined president, a person that will come out strong and try to make what they feel America should be, a strong country that cannot be anymore kowtowed by other countries. So, ganyan ang feeling dito ngayon. So, and like I said, even the Filipino Americans who were very strongly supporting President Trump feel that way. It's time we have a president that will assert American power.
Okay, Ambassador Romualdez, thank you very much for joining us again dito po sa Facts First. I know you're very busy, as I mentioned during the introduction. You have your work cut out for you. Pero aabangan natin kung ano po ba yung mangyayari. Maraming salamat, Ambassador.
It's my pleasure all the time, Christian. Thank you very much also.
Thank you pa. Yan po si Ambassador Babe Romualdez. Siya po yung ating ambassador dyan po sa Washington. Okay? So maliwanag yung mensahe. Yung threat ni Donald Trump na magkakaroon ng mass deportation, pag-upo pa lang niya, muli dyan po sa White House sa January 2025. Basically, hindi po joke yun. Of course, what's important is for our Philippine authorities here in the Philippines to prepare dun sa mga babalik na Pilipino. And of course, aabangan natin ano ba yung detalye ng preparation naman na ginagawa, yung tulong na i-extend ng ating Philippine Embassy dyan po sa United States. Okay, abangan po natin. These are very serious times, most definitely. Let's see how things would unfold. Maraming salamat po sa pagsubaybay niyo po sa ating episode ngayon. Ako po si Christian Esguerra. Kita-kita po tayo sa susunod na episode ng ating Facts First podcast. Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat.